The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A proclamation from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus was teaching in a synagogue on the Sabbath, and a woman was there for 18 years, had been crippled by a spirit. She was bent over, completely incapable of standing erect. When Jesus saw her, he called to her and said, "Woman, you are set free of your infirmity." He laid his hands on her, and she at once stood up straight and glorified God. But the leader of the synagogue, indignant that Jesus had cured on the Sabbath, said to the crowd in reply, "There are 6 days when work should be done. Come on those days to be cured, not on the Sabbath day." The Lord said to him in reply, "Hypocrites! Does not each one of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his ass from the manger and lead it out for watering? This daughter of Abraham, whom Satan has bound for 18 years now, ought she not to have been set free on the Sabbath day from this bondage?" When he said this, all his adversaries were humiliated, and the whole crowd rejoiced at the splendid deeds done by him. Brothers and sisters, the good news of our salvation.
Praise you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Bulang adlaw kanatong tanan. In the gospel today, this woman for 18 years had been bent over. Imagine how that affliction affected her daily life. She could not raise her eyes even to look at the sky. She needed help just to reach items over her. She had a hard time finding a comfortable spot to sit or sleep, and standing was also painful for her. Much Jewish thinking of the time made a direct correlation between illness and sin. God rewarded a virtuous person with good health and punished sinners with misfortune of every sort, including disease. Since this woman bore an obvious disability, she must have done something terrible to deserve it. People began to avoid her, not only because her appearance made them uncomfortable, but because they might be contaminated by contact with her wholeness. She must have searched her heart over and over again, burdened by actual and imagined guilt. And yet this woman tried to maintain her faith and trust in God. Jesus saw in her an openness that invited his compassion and mercy. He touched her, spoke a word of freedom, and suddenly she was able to straighten up. Immediately, she praised God. She knew Jesus had straightened her back, but had freed her from guilt and isolation as well. What keeps us from standing up and giving glory to God? Is it a physical illness for which we sadly blame God? Is it a fractured relationship between couples, between parents and children, on which we have given up because it seems beyond mending? Is it the memory of the past sin without even God can forgive? Is it hopelessness about our personality, our job, the family problem, or our future? After we have carried such burdens for years, we have become accustomed to them. We hardly notice that we are compensating for our supposed disability by talking too much, avoiding new situations, or occupying ourselves with practical details so we can avoid relating more personally. Think of our most hopeless situation in life. Is it really too hard for Jesus? Does your loving Father really delight in your misery? Of course not. Join this woman in today's gospel in strengthening up and trusting in God, who by the power at work within us is able to accomplish abundantly for more than all we can ask or imagine. Father, you created us to live in the freedom of your Son, Jesus. Release us from everything that cripples our spirit, especially the sins of shame, pride, and guilt. Amen.